there's no reason to waste a ton of money on it. But that was Season 2. We're into Season 3 now, so a little bit more on the wards. Can't hurt. Not too much aggression still, just the regular orthodox starts for everyone around here. MIA is actually going to walk through a ward on this. Will they decide to choose? No, it's going to be Brunch getting caught out in the bottom. A very good pulverize. The Ignite goes down instantly, forces the cleanse. It looks like he might get some damage here with his W on, but he doesn't have the vision in the bush just yet. They kind of trade the same amount of damage there.
And that's a bit of trouble for Brunch U. He started with a Doran's Blade, so he can't health pot up from all that harass. And MIA started with Star Call, so he can't heal up Brunch U. There comes the Pulverize. They might get a kill.
They could go on to this, a great exhaust, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be way too quick. A double kill. No. 1-1 for Muffin Cutie and Zuna.
And holy momentum, Batman. They just got a double kill at the start of the game after beating CLG. What a huge mistake by Brunch U getting caught in that brush, using the cleanse, and then staying in range of Muffin Cutie to get the flash pulverized. Great double kill pickup by Zuna and Muffin Cutie. That gives them total presence in that lane.
A little bit aggressive by MIA there for being a Soraka at level 1. That was really what turned Vulcan to go back in on that. Great flash pulverized by Muffin Cutie coming in. They are going to push this lane into oblivion now. Really, the other lanes for CLG, yeah, Complexity right now just have to be figuring out they need to win.
So, Chuper and Mandatory Cloud in this mid lane. One thing ManCloud did so well in their first game against CLG when he was playing up against Syndra was he farmed. Like, the early game farming of Nidalee isn't necessarily that generous, right? You really don't have much attack damage. You have to be very careful what you're last hitting with. You have nothing to aid you with that. But he was ahead of Link Syndra the entire game. We'll see if he can do the same against Chuper's Lux.
We see Smithy with a bit of aggression, so Complexity has a mark on where he is now. He's going to be backing. A quick buy does go for the Vampiric Scepter in lane. He feels like he was head enough from that first blood. Gets the Dorans as well, or had the Dorans rather, but he has the sustain, so going for that Scepter means he just wants to do some damage.
Yeah, and we look back at this bot lane. They were trying to shove in really, really hard and fast after that double kill, but MIA and Brunch U actually made it back to the lane just in time to catch the huge wave of minions, so they did give up the double kill, but they're not really that far behind in experience. So now that MIA has a few skill points, they might be able to salvage what's left of this lane since they didn't fall back in experiences. There's the pink ward battle going around in the bushes.
Yeah, they just took one out in the tri-brush, and then in that bottom one, Smithy coming down, trying to read the plays here. Looks to make a top, or a rather mid or bottom gank as he comes in. The ward's going to be there. Looks like Muffin Cutie may try to get himself in.
They know there's no
range.
flash.
Yeah, they don't have the flash. The
After
headbutt
that
goes
one,
in.
whoops.
So they force out the flash for Soraka on that one. MIA, a very long range resonating strike coming in from Smithy. A little bit of pressure on the lane just continues to hurt them. A flash expended there means Smithy may be back in just a few seconds.
Yeah, in the first engagement, MIA actually died before he could flash out of the Pulverize. For some reason, I thought MIA didn't have it, and that's why they were being so aggressive. But now they know he has no flash, and here they come.
And he actually doesn't even wait a few seconds. They go instantly back in. MIA gets back to lane and finds himself going down. Muffin Cutie easily out, and Loud Mortis knows they're not going to get anything off an engage here.
Loud Mortis is in a really tough spot here as a jungler, because when you pick a Soraka lane, it's not easy to gank for. Soraka doesn't add much to the gank. There's no crowd control really coming out, and you can't help them chase. So that lane is on its own, and if MIA and Brunch U keep getting punished by the aggression of Muffin Cutie's Alistair and Xmithy's Lee Sin, it's going to be real trouble.
Then they've really put themselves into that situation, every lane except for Lux in mid, because you can't gank as well as easy with Jace up top too.
And Muffin Cutie in the interview mentioned how they've been practicing ganking the hell out of one lane. They said they did it with Hecarim and Alistair, but they're going to do the same thing with Lee Sin and Alistair. They can pull out the same combos. They're going to really look to get Zuna going, and if they repetitively burn the cooldowns of that one lane, they keep the pressure up. They don't need to create a flash burn on Nick Wu or a flash burn on Chuper, as long as Psycho Sid and ManCloud can hold their own in lane.
We'll see the mids now at that ability where they can pretty much wipe out these waves, and we may start to see a little bit of roam here. There's the final spark going out from mid lane. Chuper's completely out of mana. His blue buff is actually up in 40 seconds, so he may just back out on this one and go get something back at the store. He will. Top lane being pushed by Nick Wu. 55-39 in the CS here for Psycho Sid, so Nick Wu seems to be seemingly blasting away with his shock blast, just clearing these waves just like that.
Yeah, here's a lane where Nick Wu's trying to get the edge. He did start the game with a red elixir, which now it looks like he just has the Tear of the Goddess on Jace, but that's one of the ways he got that early advantage on Psycho Sid. He's going to need to hold that and punish and really since Loudamortis can't gank bottom lane, and it's so hard to gank in Nidalee, this is the place where Loudamortis needs to make his impact. He needs to combo with Nick Wu, and maybe they'll look for a tower dive or something on Sid because they need to make a play.
And they could get it here. Nick Wu has actually flexed that red potion, so he's got a little bit more damage here, and he did, going for the back. And they're going to just throw out the volatile spider. He's seen, and they will not get any attempt there. You said it before, this is becoming a tough position for Loudamortis.
Now that he's been spotted out in that bot lane, he ended up walking through the ward on his retreat, so that just allows the bot lane to continue to push with impunity. Zuna 51-37 doesn't look that huge, but when you do look at the gold, it's an 800 advantage, so 2600 to 1800, and the big thing is Muffin Cutie has got 700 on MAA as well.
Mandatory Cloud trying to get in and just harass Loudamortis. Even just playing in the mid lane. Looks like they're going to try to pressure Dragon after a little bit of aggression towards this bottom lane if it goes in their favor.
And they might just go for the red buff, right? They jumped over the Dragon. They did get spotted out there. They realized that Complexity had backed off, and they don't actually want to take that turret in bottom lane yet because they know they're winning the lane so hard already that they're going to continue to keep that going for as long as possible. Now they're just going to roam around and bully.
It's 11.5 thousand gold to 10,000 gold, 1.5, and we saw 800 of that really in favor of Zuna right now. He has quite a deficit, or I'd say advantage, over Brunchu at this point. Dragon's going to be going in their favor.
And this is on top of a ward. The Dragon will be getting them kind of low because this is an 8-minute 30-second Dragon. Pretty early. Loudamortis might try to jump over and steal, but they're trying to harass it out.
And they did not get it. It did go to Xmithy as they go in, and Loudamortis, having a tough day, goes down on the attempt, but he had to go deep. They needed that edge.
He really tried to make a play. If he would have gotten it, it would have been a trade of 975 gold for the 450 that he would give up. But instead, that's just 1,425 more gold for Vulcan as a team after Loudamortis essentially committed suicide.
So he's going to be coming back in. He actually didn't even get his smite off as he went in. So Vulcan just on top of their game right now. Lanes not definitively winning in pretty much any of them. 60 CS to the 40 of Brunch, so they're definitely giving that 80 carry lane some trouble. Like we said, Xmithy would be focusing something. He spent a lot of time on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and we talk about Loudamortis struggling so much. You can really see he was pressed to make a play there, trying to splash in for a smite steal against Lee Sin specifically, who can combo the second half of his resonating strike, which is 8% missing health.
Yeah.
And on the Dragon, that's hugely substantial. He puts that with smite. It becomes nearly impossible to steal as Loudamortis unless Xmithy makes a miscalculation. So that was a very low percentage play for Loudamortis to try to make.
And perfect scenarios happening for that Zuna and Muffin Cutie lane. They are 35 CS ahead now. A full siege wave was crashing into the turret as they backed, and Brunch got hardly any of it. Everything in that bottom lane is playing out for Vulcan. Chuper now trying to force back this wave in mid. You can see the damage trade, just a loss right now as he's throwing back some potions on those spears from Mandatory Cloud.
This is a totally different Vulcan team.
Yeah,
no,
it really
is. 2 weeks. Like the way they handled COG, they made almost no mistakes. Then they got the early edge, essentially capitalizing on a quick mistake that Complexity made in lane with Brunch being caught out in the brush. And it's just like, this is what they do now. They decided to push bottom lane extremely hard. They're going to bully that lane forever. Here comes Xmithy once again. If Muffin Cutie gets a pulverize, Lee Sin's going to combo right behind it. They are not giving Brunch an inch to breathe right now.
I like it so perfect. Muffin Cutie acting as the middleman for Xmithy to come in here. Once he enters that bush, it's full-on resonating strike after his safeguard, and they're just planning this out as that work line. 11 minutes into the game, 4-0, a definitive lead for Vulcan right now, as they're not, like you said, Jap, pressuring the turrets. They want to win this lane very hard. They want to win each of their lanes very hard, and they are continuing to keep that turret up so they can soak up the CS and experience. A little bit of aggression here, and Complexity is forced to start putting wards in their own forward brush, still not seeing Xmithy on the backside.
It's a big-time team strategy that they're pulling off here, right? Because mid lane with ManCloud and top lane with Psycho Sid, they're not winning by much, if winning at all. Like, Nick Wu has the 102 to the 89 of Psycho Sid. Mid lane, Mandatory Cloud is up by 5, right? But they got the Dragon, and all their kills and extra gold are just being channeled from that bottom lane pressure. I really like how their other lanes are accepting that they're not going to get any ganks, and they know that the bottom lane is going to win it for them.
Nice attempt by Xmithy down in the bottom lane as they are still just forcefully pushing them off the turret. Loudamortis wants to finish those golems, but he will have to be pulled off. The turret takes a good amount of damage. It looks like Vulcan finally trying to put some pressure on the lane and take down the turret.
They're backing off there. Complexity kind of wanted to counter gank. Trooper was coming down from the mid lane, but they recognized that he was gone and said, all right, we're already winning this lane by a whole bunch, 97 to 52, which is almost double. Total catastrophe in the bottom lane there. They know they're sucking all the pressure down there, and they're just going to take this one a little bit slow and methodically, I think.
This one's going to be difficult coming in here, as I believe Italy just grabbing that blue buff. Luxus is about to wear off, so that lane is about to go in one direction. Smithy getting into mid, more pressure there, very omnipresent in this match. Vulcan looks to take their first turret here on the bottom lane, but they're just slowly pushing the CS. No attacks onto that turret just now, as Muffin Cutie goes ahead, he starts punching.
They could take their sweet time with getting that turret down.
Yeah.
That pushes their total gold lead to 4,000, and it shows in the fact that Muffin Cutie has 1,000 more gold than MIA, right? Muffin Cutie got the Philosopher's Stone before MIA did, so that's already accumulated 300 extra gold for Muffin Cutie because he could get it so early on into the game. It's just everything is off of that bottom lane performance, so Muffin Cutie and Zuna showing the synergy.
That's so crazy. Zuna about half the gold above, or another half above Brunch. He needs to do some catching up. The Bloodthirster finished off, and really he's just going for attack speed right now. He's trying to finish that Zeal, but the attack speed being more expensive now in Season 3, so he's really setting himself behind.
You just compare a Dagger to a Bloodthirster and you say that's not good, right? That's not a good matchup. There was so much.
I could have done that.
There's so much AD carry
So smart.
brawling that goes on, especially in the last game.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in this game because it's just going to be one man disappearing, right?
And if he's not putting out damage that's bursty, you're not going to change the mind of the people fighting you. And like we said, he doesn't have much protection.
You're right about that. Like MIA has 3 points in his Astral Blessing. His heal's only giving 65 armor. There's been so much denial in that bottom lane, and now it's a question of how Vulcan transitions that to the rest of the map, because they have the gold lead, they have the kills, but it is still just Zuna and Muffin Cutie that are ahead. The other lanes are equal.
Well, we haven't seen the burst synergy yet. The Trooper getting in there with Lux, Nick Wu getting in there with the Shock Blast Gate. It's been very sporadic for their damage, and none of them yet can, 100 to 0, as we say, on any of their abilities, just too early in the game. So the laning phase just really going in favor of Vulcan right now, and there's no doubt about that. Vulcan still pushing very heavy in the bottom. Mandatory Cloud once again grabbing up his own blue buff. Doesn't even need help from that Lee Sin now. Xmithy able to push mid. These guys are just everywhere at the same time.
Able to put pressure on because there's so much sucked into the bottom lane that they are able to roam around. The Dragon's up again right now, and just because there's such a mismatch in that 4v4, Zuna and Muffin Cutie means so much more than Brunchy and MIA. They should be able to bully out this Dragon entirely.
Looks like they're actually just going to be almost missing their blue to a true shot barrage there. But the Dragon goes once again to Vulcan. We see them taking that up to 5,000, actually 6,000 is the gold lead here. I think that's one of the biggest ones we've seen at 15 minutes.
And there was something I was kind of trying to figure out here. ManCloud looks like he has double buffs on Italy. He actually just has the blue buff.
Right.
Yeah,
I noticed
that's something that he's had almost kind of the whole
game.
game. It's like, how does he always have red buff? I was looking up, like, does Xmithy have it and stuff? But no, that is just a spectator-only thing. So in the game, it doesn't look like he has it either.
Right. So he does have the blue, doesn't have the red. He's charged up with that. You see the bottom lane, the focus on Brunch U here, and Zuna as they just battle back and forth, really focused on the CS right now. But Jat, 136 to 89 in that lane.
Which, comparison-wise, isn't as bad as the 95 to 52 was, but it's still pretty bad. Like, it's not a good scenario, and there comes Muffin Cutie onto Brunch U. The just pressure continues. Xmithy lives down there.
And you can see them getting split. They took Complexity in a point where they forced MIA out of position with Brunch, and that's the power of Muffin Cutie right there on Alistar. You can just displace, set up the ganks you want, and make it happen. They're now pushing Complexity off of this bottom turret very quickly in the game, making moves right now. It's really not been focused for any other lane but the bottom one. And like you said, Jack, Vulcan is sticking to that strategy.
It's what they did to beat CLG, and they haven't had a reason to leave it.
Oh, there
now
it
the
comes.
Spear's coming in. Here's the blue buff Mandatory Cloud going to try to siege down this bottom turret, and Complexity has been trying to stave off this the entire game. They're just hoping to get to a point where Brunchy has some items and can actually fight Zuna, because Kog'Maw does scale up quite aggressively, but it is a tough hold.
So, Jack, I compared... Oh, there's some good damage coming out, but not enough. And I compared the Jace to Nidalee earlier, and I said I loved it because it's poke, but just coming down to it, the Nidalee spears, the movement of Nidalee, just 110% more effective.
It Also, when you just add the fact that it's the magic damage versus the physical damage.
Right.
Because everyone has really good scaling armor per level. Like by the time people get level 18, they're sitting around 100 magic resist. But in Italy, once you get to the magic pen, people start the game with 30 MR. If they're a tank or something, it will scale up to about 51 or 52. But it's generally much lower values naturally.
Champions have that.
Most melees have it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good handful.
Yeah. Oh, and a dive comes mid lane. Lattimortis in trouble.
Muffin Cutie with the tank on the turret, and he goes to dash onto him with the will on. He's going to live. The Ignite is not going to take. Actually, not Ignite. But he will live nonetheless. Lattimortis gets himself out. The Siege is trying to be stopped here by Trooper. He has his ultimate up. Doesn't look like he needs to use it. We'll just get that passive proc on. Mandatory Cloud looking to get the damage in as he has the shield on.
It's kind of clever. Mandatory Cloud rushed the Morellonomicon, which has a healing debuff on spells. So when they're poking around turrets, whatever chunks someone down to like a third of their health, MIA is going to have to wait 4 seconds to use his Soraka heal on that if he wants to get the full effectiveness on it, which will make Vulcan Siege, when it comes into it, more effective.
There it is, onto Trooper. They get a nice Q into the Resonating Strike. Mandatory Cloud, they're just poking down the damage. They do not want to overextend themselves as they're gaining an advantage here.
And they're trying to put their pressure in other lanes. Like, overall, the game looks very much in the hands of Vulcan, but they do have to transition Zuna's farm into other lanes, right?
Yeah, they've slowed down a lot. They need to keep moving. They can't get complacent. They kept going on CLG, and that's what they need to do.
And it could be a fact that Complexity just kind of let themselves get pushed around a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because in the Dignitas for CLG game, as soon as Dignitas had a quick edge, CLG was like on it, trying to make stuff happen, and vice versa. As MIA takes a little bit of damage, didn't really see that one coming.
No, not at all. The spear just clocking him right upside the head, and that was about 75% of his health, literally. And the wards clearing, or able to push them out, I should say, just giving them enough vision. But you can see Complexity not playing scared, but playing very cautious. They're one by one entering the jungle, just creeping on their tiptoes.
And the one kind of all-out play that Complexity made when Lattimortis went in for the Dragonsteel did end up costing them. That might contribute to their passivity. If Lattimortis is the one that's really generaling them and making all the calls, since he had that one-play backfire, as he gets caught out in the jungle, they might not do more.
Oh, Lattimortis walked right through a ward there, and it looks like he's going to go down. His team cannot get to the other side of the wall. Unfortunate positioning.
And this could be the reason that Complexity is so passive. Lattimortis is their playmaker, but he's so far behind he's not able to make plays, and no one else is really taking the ball and saying, I'm going to go do things. Nick Wu has actually had the lane turned around on him by Psycho Sid. You know, Trooper hasn't been able to do anything in mid lane against ManCloud, so they're just trapped.
You know, Jat, we hear Zuna continuously yelling, but it looks like there is a lot of just quiet coming from Complexity, and you cannot have that.
It's what happens to teams when they run out of ideas sometimes. They just kind of shut down, and when you see that, the game is almost over at that point, because if everyone's just kind of quietly sitting and hoping someone else comes up with something,
right? I mean,
no one is talking, right? On Complexity's side, it's like a yes or no, or this guy's here, and they're just hoping something happens to them. They're not engaging in their own comeback. They're just hoping it comes to them, which is not the way to play it, as Lattimortis is probably in a lot of trouble.
He's very much so in trouble right now. He knows Trooper's on the outside. Looks like they were able to grab away the blue there for Lux. And they will start to make their way out. Yes, Lux. No, she actually did not get it. So
Mandatory Cloud has a fresh blue.
Will be Mandatory Clouds. Wow, great job on the steal. The final spark will be up, so no problem on that. But the engagement bottom now means they won't have that siege clear. Let's see if they can get some more damage on the turret. But this is where they've been all game. These guys have not left bottom. This is home away from home.
And this is the build that Don't Mash Me used against Vulcan when Don't Mash Me's team was running the Pro Cup, when GGU was doing it. It's the cooldown boots into a Frozen Fist, and it's all about the Mystic Shot spam for Zuna. He can really just kite at range, and you don't even necessarily need to auto-attack that much because you can Mystic Shot almost every second if you're landing your abilities.
Amazing builds coming out from these guys. Definitely something to take note of as well. We look at the round, take stock of the CS within the lanes, which is actually quite close considering we're at 21 minutes in the game. 171 to 185 in the top. Almost 100 CS, however, separates the AD carries.
Right, and if you just add up the, I think that was 2 or 3 dragons. I believe it 2 dragons.
2 dragons at this
2
point.
dragons and 2 turrets. It's 975 gold a dragon. I'm just going to say 1,000 and 750 gold per turret. So that's where a lot of it's coming from, right? That's 3,500 gold. Then you factor in the fact that Muffin Cutie got his gold per 10 earlier, and Zuna is substantially winning his lane, and bam, that's their huge, huge advantage.
We'll have to see. The Static Shiv was actually the first item for Brunch U, which is kind of going to add a little bit of damage for the fact that you throw out more Ws, but that was a big plateau in overall burst damage for him. He's really not been able to do much, and he's only been farming. Now that we see him into the fight, he has grabbed the pickaxe, so he's going to have a little bit of hit to his strike. We'll have to see if it's enough, though. Like we said, he doesn't have enough peel, and the poke comp is going to start hurting from Vulcan.
Yep, Death Cap completed for ManCloud, and it's the 3,000 gold edge. The Static Shiv is nice. Not quite enough. They have a lot of disengage, Complexity does, with the Jace acceleration gate, but there's probably even more engage and poke coming out from Vulcan, as this turret is not going to be standing for very long.
They are throwing everything they have right now. Even the True Shot Barrage went out, not even really doing much damage. They're just trying to deter and change the mindset of Complexity right now. They can't hit these spears as much as ManCloud was last time, but this turret looks to go down. Oh, there is one right there. And for Xin, that is not good damage.
They have no reason to not continue pushing this, right? Mandatory Cloud has about a minute left on his blue buff. Unless Zuna takes a bunch of damage, they can't go in, and there's a bunch of damage.
Muffin Cutie could have just solidified a kill there for himself, but he gets a good pulverize in. The dash isn't there for Lauda and here's the kite coming in. That blue buff, Zuna's able to shift. The wish comes out from MIA, but everybody was almost full health. That was only for Lauda, and they're going to choose to back off on this one. That was a lot of what they needed. MIA need to use the heal on himself. No, he flashes and saves the heal for one of his teammates. These guys are scattering right now.
And Vulcan actually really passive in the way they're doing this, right? Like, they could have actually engaged that in a few ways, but they want to continue the poke strategy. They're sticking to their guns. They know they can get a victory if they disengage and poke properly, so they will take this one slow.
Zuna is low, but he does have that blue buff he just stole. It looks like they're going to start backing out. And I was going to say they have to be careful, because it looked like Chuper and Brunch wanted to go in pretty hard right there for at least one pickoff.
It was really telling once Chuper landed the burst onto Zuna and Muffin Cutie, how little damage Lauda did diving onto Zuna, right? The Glacial Shroud, which is now turned into the Iceborne Gauntlets, giving that now 60 armor, which puts Zuna at 130 overall, means it's very difficult for Lauda Jin Zhao with actually no real damage items. Madrid's Razors only helps you against jungle minions now in Season 3. Not doing much. Lauda gets kicked back.
Looks like they are going to be able to do this. Zuna yelling from the background. Lauda tries to save himself for a few more seconds, delaying the time. And it looks like it is going to be a push down mid for these guys. The safeguard to the ward, a beautiful catch in the cocoon. Double kill coming in from Mandatory Cloud, and they can continue to push this.
They're just looking to punish right now, as they have been the entire game, waiting for the creep wave a little bit. Zuna, he's fine taking a few hits, getting a shield. They're going to keep on this push.
Now they say what creep wave? They're just going to micro this damage in and out. The heal coming in quite large, actually, from Nidalee. Zuna's going to stay healthy on this one. There's the turret going down. They actually rush past the turret to see if they can catch him on a little bit of damage first, and then take it.
Yeah, the Nidalee heal doing a substantial amount since it's 355 AP on Mandatory Cloud. Able to just get rid of some of the auxiliary damage you take from the turret as well. Confident Vulcan coming in, and who would have thought, right? Like an 05 Vulcan winning the first 2 games. Like, that's...
Like you said, a
awesome.
different, completely different team coming in here. Zuna still in Zuna mode, as you can see on his screen, right up on that monitor. And he is at 233 to 140
he wants
CS.
this kill.
It looks like he's going to get it. The True Shot Barrage comes out. A quick 500 burst nuke. And a Cathian Surprise, not going to do much here. It looks like he's actually just going for CS.
A lot of people don't realize how much damage True Shot Barrage does on its first target. Right now, with Zuna's build, it's doing close to 700 damage on the very first thing it hits, and that's not even at rank 3. So that was getting the element of surprise on Brunch. You really sold that. Even if it was a straight-up brawl because of his items, he probably would have just destroyed him, but the ultimate made it extra so.
And nobody can even get down there to stop that. Brunch was taken down a good 20 seconds ago, and Zuna has seen no contest for that bottom lane.
Yeah, he's 103 minion kills ahead of where Brunchy would be. This is close to hopeless for Complexity. They really would need Vulcan to make a catastrophic error at this point to be done with it. Mandatory Cloud, just so much poke going through. and Vulcan is playing this the right way. They took so many losses in the first 2 weeks that these wins really, really matter for them. They don't have a reason to have to rush this. They're taking it carefully.
Looks like Complexity maybe pushing out a little bit here. They do see that Zuna's very low on mana. They have the chase. The shot are not going to come out. I thought they were really going to chase that. Put one more gate down and keep it going. He had 0 mana, but they're not going to chance it. I guess that's smarter play than risky.
I mean, Complexity might be going for their first turret here. This is one of those things you get pushed around for so long, you just try to make something happen.
And there it is, coming in Xmithy. Actually, beautiful job with Muffin Cutie as they throw down the Pulverize. Coming in onto Brunch, a spear hits Chuper. They're all taking way too much front-end burst, and it looks like they're out.
Nice
a great
stun.
cocoon coming in from the side. It looks like Lauda Mortis may not make it out alive. The Ignite ticks one more time. They are able to take him out. Oh, through the acceleration gate, they run, and Complexity using everything in defense.
I gotta hand it to Vulcan right now. Like, so many teams, especially like the really experienced ones, turned on themselves after like a couple of losses. But you come into the LCS and you drop your first 5 games to be able to come back, win against CLG, and then be in a commanding lead over Complexity takes a lot of heart and maturity by the guys to not turn on each other. These guys haven't subbed out anyone yet.
No.
A lot of teams would have panicked after the first 5 games
and
tried to replace a player, started blaming each other. We didn't hear any of that from Vulcan. No one was saying that it was, this guy's the reason we lost. I'm playing great. That never happened with Vulcan. They are just looking solid, and yeah, maybe they have a lot of potential. I can't wait to see the rest of the season with these guys.
It really came from a team that looked great on paper to a team that is now good in the game as well. They really came together with the cohesion, and you're right. For them to just split up would kind of be what everybody else has been doing, and just saying, this didn't work, we'll put something fresh in. Vulcan says, no way, we've got the lineup we came in with qualifiers, and we're going to use it through the LCS. Almost 30 minutes into this game, they look to shut out a second team on turrets, and completely in the game. Lauda Mortis once again caught out, could be the first one going down. He tries to dash himself back to safety, but he's just kicked back into the fight. MIA on the outside, throwing down the locket, but it's not going to help enough. He is kind of crawling out of this one, though, but they're wasting so much on Lauda Mortis that they don't have Wish now. That cooldown is up for MIA, and they could continue to push this.
Yeah, Lauda Mortis really lasted for an 0-5 Xin Zhao. That just shows you that if this game would have been a little different, that Complexity would have been really hard to bring down. The Soraka shields with the Lux shields and the tankiness of Xin Zhao, that would have been pretty damn good composition for him.
Yeah, so they go for Baron here. 30 minutes in, Jat 10-0, 6-0 on turrets, and it's going to be, wow, a 16,000 gold lead.
And
well, not really, 14.
Yeah, the only turret they've lost all game was that one desperation push that CLG did up mid where they took the one middle turret in that first game.
Yep.
Other than that, it's been like a total, almost flawless day for Vulcan, and they're going for the flawless victory here. If they can get a kill, you know, finish them off without the deaths. Their KDAs have been suffering in the first 2 weeks. We know I'm a Cutie Pie was being, you know, a bit of a, as Scar said, disgusting person for KDA earlier today. It doesn't even look like Vulcan's doing that. They're just playing really solid.
It is a slow roll, but it's the strong slow roll. They're doing everything perfectly. Lauda Mortis taking some good damage there. And it looks like they're continuing to pressure this. MIA forced out of the fight. One spear.
Oh.
Nick Wu, half health now. He did take a bit of damage before. That's not one full spear, but it's still chunking these guys out, and it completely changes the fight mentality. You're put on tilt. You're a little agitated. You just lost about half of your health from one ability, and that's the fight initiation that they're looking for.
And this is a little bit outside the game, but I'm really curious.
Oh my gosh.
Like, look at this. Where's your Aegis? Right?
No words.
No, seriously.
No words.
These guys have fallen in love with the Locket of the Iron Solari, but if they just had a runic bulwark on Lauda Mortis instead of that Locket, they wouldn't be taking as much poke from the Nidalee.
You know, Jat, you asked in the beginning, you begged, you pleaded, please buy some magic resistance, but I don't think they heard you. All right, catches another one. He is wearing some isotoners right now.
That hurts. That really hurts.
50,000 gold to 33,000 gold. 7-0 on turrets. Vulcan looks to play their second shutout game in the third week of the LCS. They grabbed their first win here this week. They're going to grab their second one, and could they be the next team to go 3-0 for an LCS week?
Well, they're the last team that has a chance, I think, because the 3 teams that played 3 games are Complexity, CLG, and Vulcan.
Those statistics.
So Vulcan's game tomorrow against GGU is going to be the one that tells us.
Oh my gosh. So Complexity now, again, moving power and numbers. There is a lot of dangerous things coming at them from Vulcan's side here. They have yet to grab a kill. All their money has come from CS. Completely CS.
All of Vulcan's gold?
Complexity.
CS? Oh, complexities.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
nothing.
like, are you kidding me? They've killed 7 turrets. It's like, oh wait, yeah, you're right.
0
That
turrets,
is all
0
complexities
kills.
gold.
It's, oh my gosh, Chuper getting taken down as well. MIA is taking that much damage.
Oh, this is just too much for them. This is one of those games that Complexity wants to make stop and something happened.
Well,
I heard a yell.
Oh, they hit him. Before he got back, they were able to hit him with True Shot Barrage from the outside of the base, and it looks like they're just going to be able to take down this turret. Chuper's in the death chamber for this amount of time, and that's the crowd control for Complexity. They have nothing else left. It's just going to be an all-out rampage for Vulcan to run around the base right now. Muffin Cutie just headbutting people out of the way. Flash is being expended just to stay alive, and the base being torn apart by Vulcan.
That Lux kill, I really have to see that one again when this game gets said and done. This looks like the end for Vulcan. 12-0. Vulcan 2-0 today. Awesome.
Shutout game. 0 turrets taken a second time around. The stats to be padded a little bit more as blood red health bars show up for Complexity. The Nexus seems the same fate, and Vulcan picks up their second win in week 3.
Just a